Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom Weekly from the Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living. Practical spiritual insights to help you live a more joyful, empowered, and grounded life.
So before we get started, I did want to acknowledge a couple of things. Probably no one ever noticed this, but today it touched my heart. Every Sunday morning, the AV team matches the lights to the color of the speaker. And I know they do it, but when I looked up and I saw pink, I said, oh, thank you. So I just now you're in on the secret so you can be prepared. All right. The other thing I want to make a promotion for is Rev Cindy did a beautiful meditation this morning. If you weren't able to make it, I highly recommend watching it on Facebook. It was a wonderful exploration into your own unique superpower. And so I would invite you to do that. Thank you so much, Rev Cindy, for coordinating that with the talk. So as we get started, let us center ourselves in stillness of spirit. Know that there is only one life, and that life is God, and that life is perfect, and that life is my life right now. As we gather in this consciousness, may our hearts open to the infinite power of love that resides within us, around us, as us. May we remember who we are and what love is. And so it is. So good morning, beloved community. Thank you all for being here. I stand before you today to explore something very profound and transformative. Truths that we can embrace on this journey of ours, and that is love as a superpower. In the Center for Spiritual Living, we teach that we are not separate from the divine. We are actually expressions of the infinite. As a spiritual being, we have access to this limitless potential to create, heal, and transform our lives and the lives of those in the world around us. That's a really big responsibility. Okay, just take that on for a minute. And know that we're not asked to do this alone. We have at our disposal every single gift, every single power of God showing up in us, as what we do. So at the very, very heart of our divinity is a superpower, and that superpower is love. So I want to invite you into a deeper understanding of love. We're not going to cover the whole topic. I would love to, but we'd be here for days. But it is a divine force, and it is a superpower when we recognize it, express it, embrace it, and use it that can allow us to transform. And I'm going to actually share a story with you today about how it has transformed my life. So let's start with the definition of love so we can all be on the same page. According to Merriam-Webster, it is an intense feeling of deep connection. Wow. According to Ernest Holmes, God is the source of all. Everything is an expression of that one spirit. And this oneness does not imply sameness, not at all, but rather a unified whole where each individual is a unique expression of the divine. So we are all part of this whole. That's the deep connection. For Holmes, the words God and love were used interchangeably. Love has many, many, many unique expressions. It could be romantic, could be familial, could be unconditional, could be compassion, could be companionate, self-love, selfless love, unconditional, pragma love. That was a new one for me. People and things loved of a values-based belief system, playful love, and obsessive love, to just name a few. I think that's my dog. Anyway, And dog, by the way, is God spelled backwards, so of course. So love like God is all-encompassing and difficult to understand with just the human brain or described with words because it is so expansive. There are so many different expressions and words for it. So today I'm going to cover 3 aspects. First of all, the essence of who you are, the healing power of love, and love as the meaning of life. You didn't know that you were going to learn the meaning of life today. At least I can tell you what I've learned. So, the essence of who you are. In the science of mind, we believe that God is infinite love. God, or the divine, is not distant. It is not an impersonal force, but it's the very essence of love itself. Ernest Holmes says, we live in a universe of love, a universe of law, a universe of intelligence. So love is not a distant concept. It's something that happens, or something that just happens between 2 people. It is actually the very core of the universe. And it is who you are at your deepest essence. The essence of who you are. So think about that. Love is the force that sustains life itself. It is the creative energy that animates everything. When we say God is love, we're speaking of an energy that flows through us, through all of life, constantly working to create harmony, wholeness, and beauty. It's an energy that is always available and always present. So, how do we apply this? When we understand that love is not something separate, but part of our nature, we can begin to shift to see ourselves in a different, loving way. We stop thinking of ourselves as broken, separate individuals. Instead, recognize ourselves as a divine expression of infinite love. From this place of awareness, love becomes a superpower with the ability to heal, to create, to forgive, to uplift, to transform the world around us. I love Marianne Williamson's quote where she says, every single thing is love or a cry for love. Think about that. Which brings us to healing. So love as a healing power, it is not just creative, but love has the power to heal any wounds, emotional, physical, spiritual. Love is a transformative force of the universe. And in our teaching, we understand that the divine is ever present because love is at the core of the divine. Love is the healing agent that can restore balance and wholeness to any situation. It is the response to that cry for love. So Ernest reminds us that the one thing that can heal every wound is the knowledge of truth, that there is no power in the world but the power of love. This is not just theoretical. It is a practical reality. When we consciously make up our mind to embrace love in the face of challenge, it will change the circumstance. It can be physical, it can be a strained relationship, it can be something difficult we're struggling with. But Holmes reminds us, love dissipates all fear, casts out all doubt, and sets the captive free. So how do we apply that? So healing will begin when we open ourselves to love. I'm always one choice away from healing. If you're dealing with pain in your life, ask yourself, how can I respond with love? If you meet every challenge, every hardship with love in your heart, you have the ability to open the door to healing, both for yourself and those around you. Even in the face of illness, adversity, heartbreak, love is the powerful balm that brings peace, restoration, and harmony. During the meditation with Rev Cindy, we had to pick a superhero that we could relate to, and mine was Spider-Man. And that's because I hate spiders. And I can't imagine being bitten by a spider, but I've been bitten by many spiders in my life. And those adversities have transformed me, made me stronger, made me able to choose love and to share that love with others because of those spider bites. So one of my favorite saying is, and it has had a life-changing impact on me, is change your mind, change your life, right? This quote is loosely related to one by Norman Vincent Peale, change your thoughts, change your world. And then Ernest Holmes has his own version, change your thinking, change your life. This is easy for me to think about the future. And this is where I've had the most experience. Okay, I'm faced with this situation, I'll change my mind, and it's the reason I'm here today. It's the reason I went through practitioner studies, because this shit works. Oh, am I supposed to not say that word? Anyway, the bottom line is, it really does work. And so I got it for the future. That was so life-changing for me. But then I had an opportunity to see it work, not magic, just in the future. The idea of changing the past was completely foreign to me, right? That's water under the bridge. I can't do anything about it. I got to experience firsthand when I was 35, because despite having a somewhat troubled childhood, and in my mind, being abandoned by my father before I turned 1, I went ahead and fulfilled my dreams. I graduated from college, and then after graduation, I had a very prolific career as a digital marketing executive. I worked for multi-billion-dollar companies. I went to work in Brussels, Belgium. I traveled the world, right? I had it all, right? No. So through all of this, my relationship with my father still remained very strained and unresolved. No matter how much I accomplished, I still suffered from abandonment issues. I just kept dragging them with me on every experience that I had. For as long as I could remember this mental image and the emotions surrounding my dad walking out of the house, out of his marriage with my mom, out of his role as my father. Oh, I held on to that. Ooh. I cradled this actually close to my heart, thinking it was a precious memory instead of a horrible choice that I had made for 35 years. I saw him every other weekend growing up. I spent as much time with his new wife and new family as possible. But the only thing I could see was him walking out, leaving me. I was around him, but it was as if we weren't together. The lights were on, but nobody was home. When I turned 35, I bravely decided to change my mind about the situation. Let me tell you how it happened. I went on a 22-day assignment with a prayer partner, and for 22 days, I had to tell my life story. 22 days. But every day, it had to be from a different perspective. One day was a tragedy. One day was a comedy. The next day was an action film. Every single day, I had to change the setting of my life. And besides, number one, getting really sick of my own story, I realized it was just a story. And that was the most powerful lesson that I took away. And I decided for the first time that my father leaving was an act of love. A decision he made consciously in order to remove me from a bad marriage that he had with my mother. For the first time in my life, I saw his abandonment as a way of putting me out of harm's way around a very unhappy couple that he and my mother made when they were together, along with his saving me from growing up with an ill-prepared dad. I decided in that moment to let the wall down that I had built around my heart, to release my resentment that I had held on to for protection of what I thought he had supposedly done to me. Do you know what happened? I experienced an incredible flood of 35 years of his love. It just washed over me. I couldn't stop it. The wall was gone. It had always, always been there. It was a miracle. It was as though love was just waiting on me on the other side. The decisions I had made that had fortified an angry person year after year between me and my father. I finally felt the love that my dad offered. He was giving me in the only way he knew how. And it was overwhelming. A life barren of my father's love was suddenly drenched in formerly unreceived emotions. And they found their way to me and the home in my heart. At that moment, my past transformed into one of understanding, love, and trust. And from that point forward, my relationship with my father changed. It was like I was reliving my life, but this time it had a happy ending. I phoned him that night, and I told him, I got it. I felt it. And I had known that it had always been there waiting for me. We cried together. And all he kept saying was, I tried so hard. I tried so hard. It took me a few more years, but finally, after decades of avoiding him, I moved to South Florida. I lived within 15, 20 minutes. I saw him every single week. We shared our daily lives. And I was able to give and receive the love that was always there, waiting for me just to change my mind. The thoughts we entertain in our mind are a powerful force, and they can stop even love. But by harnessing my thoughts, I was able to transform my life, and now I know that love has not only the power to heal the future, but can also change the past. As a matter of fact, I believe that it is the meaning of life. So let me share this. You don't have to wait 7 decades. I'm going to save you a lot of time. Right now, you're probably wondering, these beautiful young people here, wow, what am I here for? What's the meaning of life? I'm going to tell you, okay? It's your secret. One thing I've learned is that your job, your title, where you are, what you're doing are not important. They are only a stage where you get to do what it is you're truly meant to do, what we're here for. Every single person, they are the stage, the set, and the props that bring together the right people and the right opportunities, the right circumstances to allow us to give and receive love. That's it. That's all we're here for. And so if you ever have to make a choice, this is what I tell my clients, of your child sitting there in front of you, daddy, 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 please see me, look at me, right? Watch me, and they're not doing anything. It's just precious, right? They're just asking for love. And then you've got that email memo you've got to get out. Guess what? 5 years from now, nobody's going to remember that email, but that child is going to remember that you stopped and took the time to say, I see you. So when I feel a lack of love in a situation, it's my call to bring love. When I am least able to receive love, it is my responsibility to open my heart to God's flow. If you ever feel like you don't deserve love, think of a time where you were able to give love to someone. It releases these amazing endorphins. It brings great joy and happiness to the person giving the love. So ask yourself, who are you to deny someone else that amazing feeling? Right? We all know people who say, no, I don't need anything. That's just stopping the purpose of life, giving, receiving. Let it in. Say, yes, let me make you happy. Let me give you the opportunity to feel what it feels like to give love. So receive their love. If someone says, is there anything I can do for you? Before you stop, before you say no, because we always say, oh, no, I'm fine. Remember this, your response indicates your willingness to allow them to feel the joy of giving love. So respond accordingly. If not for you, do it for the other person. So, some ways you can leave today and practice love. Affirm daily, I am love expressing. I am a channel for divine love. 2, forgive boldly. Forgive boldly. I had to forgive 35 years. That doesn't mean condoning, but it does mean releasing ourselves and others from the chains of resentment. What I've learned is resentment is like taking poison, thinking that the other person is going to die. The only person who's going to suffer from that resentment is you, holding on to it, destroying your own heart. Number 3, see the divine in everyone. Even those who challenge us are part of this one love. See through the appearances to the truth of that oneness. And those who do the least loving things, Donald, are those who are crying the loudest for love. So we think of our leaders today. Such a scream, begging for, crying for love. So in closing, I want to leave you with this thought. Love is not something we go out and look for. It is who we are. It is the energy of the divine that flows through us as us. Love is your superpower. And when you embrace it in your own unique way, you step into the infinite potential that the universe has always intended for you. So I invite you to ask yourself, how can you use love as your superpower? How will you let it guide you, heal you, empower you? So may your love always allow you to leap tall buildings and obstacles in a single bound and to go faster than a speeding bullet as you do that. Because with love and God, all is possible. And so it is.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Spiritual Wisdom Weekly. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on social media at Greater Orlando Center for Spiritual Living and support our work, including this podcast, at gocsl.org. Until next time, take good care and keep growing in spirit.